Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shoot the Shit. Today, we're talking about one of my favorite games of the last year, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Funnily enough, I didn't actually play the first one. I mean, I played it a little bit, but not too much. And Ben, you're the same thing, right? You didn't really play too much.
I played the first one quite a bit, actually, probably 15, 20 hours. And then the
Okay.
second one, not at all. Not at all.
Why didn't you play the second one?
Because of the first one, probably. I was not a fan of the sort of genre of it. I guess it was just really slow for me. I think the storytelling and the quest design was really cool, but I really struggled with the combat. Was I thought really overly complicated, which we'll get into, and I just didn't
Yeah.
like it. I didn't really enjoy it. Everything took too long. I'm
It's,
not a fan of this, but I know you have played the second one, and so I'm really intrigued
well,
um,
I think
about
that
it.
the second one enhances everything that was wrong with the first one. I really think they took all the criticism and fixed most of it. So essentially, the game is a medieval RPG, would you say? Right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
I would say RPG. Yeah,
it's developed by Warhorse Studios. It came out in February 2025, so it's pretty recent, and it picks up like directly after the first one, like immediately after, and it's set in 15th century Bohemia, which is modern day Czech Republic,
yep,
during a real civil war over the Bohemian crown. Most of the figures in the game, like the named characters, are real historical figures. Like your best friend in the game is a real person, and that was a really really cool detail for me. And it was just a lot of fun to get into that sort of world, that medieval world. I'm a big history nerd, so I was really loving it immediately. It is probably the most historically accurate game I can think I've ever played, and
wow,
that
even Assassin's
alone
Creed, like Assassin's Creed 2, and
oh, significantly more accurate.
in depth.
Like,
Okay,
it's much more so Assassin's Creed is I like what you I know what you mean with Assassin's Creed, but Assassin's Creed still has that sheen of the fantasy and the sci-fi,
sure.
right?
Where you just kill
But
everybody
this
still, and none of that
you
happened.
oh, yeah, kill everybody. In this game, if I fight 2 people, it's it's really intense. It's really hard to kill
Oh,
2 people.
yeah, yeah. No, I remember from the first one. Yep.
But it was cool to have the real Civil War there, and it was also really cool to have the medieval mindset. Now, we have to remember that this is the 15th century, so this is, the 1400s, and this is prior to the Protestant Reformation, so it's not the Catholic Church that's in the game, it's just the church. And there are like rumblings in the game where they're discussing how the church is corrupt, and this eventually leads to the Protestant Reformation about 100 years later with Martin Luther in
Yep.
Germany,
Yep.
and all of those events lead to massive, massive wars in the 16th and 17th century. Just huge things. But it was really cool to play a game that was right at the end of the Middle Ages. This is the time period is considered the late Middle Ages. People argue when the Middle Ages actually kind of end, and it's sort of around this time. There is, like, gunpowder weapons in the game, like, very, very crude gunpowder weapons,
Yeah.
and they're awful. Like, they're like sticks that shoot little balls. And they're so inaccurate. I don't think I killed a single person with one. They're really expensive, but they were god awful. But it was really cool to see the knights in shining armor. This is where, like, the medieval plate armor when you think of a medieval knight, you think of this time period, which is funny because the medieval era didn't always have such great plate technology, like armor plating. And this eventually becomes obsolete because gunpowder, it doesn't matter. If you have a cannon or a gun, it can go straight through the armor. So it was really cool to see all of those designs. And in a place of the world that, usually when we get medieval games, it's like England, it's Italy, it's maybe the Middle East,
Yeah.
it's Japan, but not like
Not that
Bohemia.
area. Yeah, that's a
Not
rare one for sure.
it's right on the edge of modern day Germany, and it's something that I had no clue about any of these events that were happening in the game. So it was really, really cool to kind of play through that.
Okay. Yeah, perfect setting. So tell me more about the main character. He's fictional. Henry's his name, right?
So yeah, his name is Henry of Skalitz. He's a blacksmith's son, and in the first game, your father, who's shocking, not actually your father,
Yeah.
he dies and he gets killed, and you become the bodyguard of a nobleman, Hans Capone, and he was the best friend I was talking about. He's the real guy. You can look him up on Wikipedia. He has the entry. It's pretty cool. So you eventually it's just a revenge quest with the background of this civil war. To kind of go over the Civil War real quick. There was a kind of like a golden age under the previous emperor, Charles the Fourth, I think.
Okay.
Prague was the capital. Um, and there was this, like I said, a golden age. And then after he dies, his son Wenceslas, which is a mouthful,
Ooh,
the fourth takes over, and he's the type of king who seems to not really give a fuck about ruling, like
fair.
at
Okay.
all.
Okay.
He just doesn't really care. He's just ineffective. He just kind of likes to go out hunting. He's not evil. He's just inept, right? So then his half brother Sigismund of Luxembourg, king of Hungary, seeks to extend his influence, and he basically imprisons Wenceslaus and tries to take over Bohemia. That's the essential backdrop to the Civil War.
So where does your character come
And
in?
in the story,
Yeah. So he's
well,
obviously
Hans is
fictional, is
an
what you said. Yeah.
he's fictional and he's the bodyguard of Hans.
Oh,
And
perfect. So kind of a nobody at the start.
he's a nobody at the start. It is cool at the beginning of this game and the second game. You're decked out because obviously it happens immediately after the first one.
Yeah.
So you have the best armor and everything, and it's kind of funny because then they stop by a river and they go, "Hey, we're gonna go for a swim," and they go for a swim, or well, actually Henry can't swim, but they go for a dip. So they go into these reeds and they're just sitting there, Hans and Henry, just talking, and they hear conflict over next to them, and their entire group is getting killed and all of their armor being stolen. So
Of course.
it's a great way for you to start with nothing at the beginning of the game. 'Cause you do start with absolutely nothing. You go into this town, and I'm not kidding, you're just wearing pants. Like, that's all you're wearing. And you
Sounds right.
show up, and everyone thinks you're like peasants or these beggars. They think you're they think you're like these low lives. And Hans, being a nobleman, is like, "I am Hans Capone. What are you doing?"
Yeah, sure.
And they get thrown in, oh, I forget what the thing in irons. When you have to put your hands through and your head through, like, the wooden board,
Yes. Yep. I
and
know
you have
exactly
to
what you're talking about.
stand there?
Yeah.
So their punishment is to stand there for 2 days, and I gotta
Oof.
admit, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good punishment. But anyway, then you and Hans have a bust up, and then Hans just goes on his way, and yeah, I mean, obviously, you meet him later, but it's a really good way of, like, you're in the middle of this town, and you have nothing, and then now it's like, "Alright, get started. Go ahead."
Yeah.
Um, so obviously then you meet like the local innkeeper, and the innkeeper says, "Oh, you should talk to these guys. These guys will help you. One of them's a blacksmith, one of them is a miller." And you go to the blacksmith, and the blacksmith will give you some work, he'll give you some clothes, and then the miller will do the same thing, and the miller will teach you how to steal and like sneak around. Because it's a really cool RPG in the sense that all of your abilities, everything that you do in the game can be upgraded and advanced. So when you're sneaking by someone behind them and they don't notice you, your sneak skill is going up.
Similar to
Same with
Skyrim, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Similar to thievery too. The more shit that you steal, the higher, or the more value the shit you steal is, the higher your thievery rating goes. And then when you get points in that, you can like upgrade it. And it's a lot of fun because it's everything you're doing gives you points to get better at all of those things, right? I mean,
Sure.
it's a classic sort of thing. The more you
Skill
ride
point
your
system.
horse, yeah,
Not
exactly.
skill,
But
yeah,
but
yeah.
even the more you ride your horse, the more points you get with that. The more you have your dog next to you, the more points you get with the dog. The better you are at talking to people and trying haggling for prices, the better you get at that. I mean, it's not just better, it's actual skill points, like, inside it, and I can't really remember
Yeah,
any
so
of
I
them
wanna get
specifically.
more into, just sort of the gameplay and the inventory and the skill. So, okay, so you got the start and then you open up through probably pretty
It's
not
classic
generic quest
RPG,
line. Yeah,
classic RPG.
quest
No, the
line, "Hey,
quest
do this
lines
for
are
me, I'll give you this, do
yeah.
this for me." I'm sure way more depth with the writing, and I wanna get to writing later towards the end. But talk to me a little bit more about then the overall gameplay. You talked about horses, you have a pet, that's cool.
Yeah.
Inventory
So
system, skill points, all that stuff.
it's a first person perspective. I will say the gameplay is a little stiff. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a little stiff and it's a little rigid. You probably want to know about the combat.
A little bit more,
Obvi-
sure.
obviously you can use any weapon that they had during this time period. So you have regular swords, you have two-handed swords, you have pole arms, you have oh god, I'm forgetting one of them. But then you have shields, and then you have different types of bows and arrows. You have like the regular bow, then you have a crossbow, and the crossbow is much more powerful than a regular bow. And then you have these actual pistols that you can shoot. But what's really cool about the archery system is if there's a guy coming at you in full plate armor, like think of a medieval knight in armor. Think about
Sure.
that guy right now,
Yeah.
and in any other game, if you shoot an arrow at them, the arrow hurts them. Like it would just be like whatever. Their just
Yeah,
defense is higher. You have to just shoot more arrows at them.
like a health
In
bar, yeah,
this game, exactly. In this game, the arrow won't do anything, and
which
that is
kinda makes
historically
sense.
accurate.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
gonna bounce right off.
but you can if they're like wearing a full plated helmet with a visor, you shoot them in the face, it doesn't work. But if they're not wearing a helmet, you can shoot them in the face and the arrow will go through. It also depends on the type of arrow too.
And hopefully kill them
There
if you hit them in the head.
it hopefully and it's all that sort of stuff. The combat is a little funky because when you're up against somebody in the game, it has like it's kind of hard to explain. If you're using a pole arm is kind of like a small spear, I'd say, with like an axe at the
Yeah.
end.
Yep.
If you're using that, it'll have three like triangular symbols in the middle of your screen, and they're going to all be yellow. And two of them are faded yellow. One is a darker yellow. The darker yellow side is the side in which you will swing the pole arm at them when you do attack them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. It does, yep. I
And
remember that from the
it's
first game.
yeah. So and that's just 3, but if you have a single-handed sword, there's a 4th one, which is like an undercut stab. The combat system isn't the most intuitive, but once you get the hang of it, it gets okay, and there's also you can get better at it, and you can learn different techniques fighting. At the beginning, it's kinda like you're just trying to swing and hit them. I died so many times at the beginning.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
I
sure.
just did not know how it worked. I was getting a little frustrated. Like, one dude was a very intimidating enemy. And I gotta admit, I kinda like that because it's kind of a real it gave a real sense of fear that I think you and I would have. If a guy comes at you with a sword, Ben, and you have a sword, you're like, "Oh, this is a problem." But,
Sure.
like, in other games, like, let's I mean, we've been talking about Crimson Desert, right? You mow down 100 people, no problem. This is one person, and they're intimidating. And
Yeah,
I
that's
did
where
like
the
that a lot.
historical accuracy, I think, is
Yeah, and
yeah.
it made how I dealt with problems I really had to think my way through it. Um,
Can you
there
assassinate
was one
enemies?
oh, yeah, big time. Yeah,
Nice.
but
Okay.
there's a window in which you can do it.
Okay.
So it's like a timing thing, and if you fuck up the timing, they then turn around and, like, bash you in the head. Um but there was, like, a bandit camp I had to clear, but I just didn't feel confident in it. I had gone and attacked them a bunch of times, and I was not doing well. I was shooting the first guy with an arrow, but it took 3 arrows to kill him, but by then, he shouted at everybody else to come along, and so there's 6 guys running at me, and if you can only focus 1 guy, the other 5 will just kill you. It's pretty simple. It's very difficult. You're always backing up, it seems. So what I had to do is I waited until nighttime and I like snuck my way in there
Sure.
and I stabbed half of them and then I was able to fight 2 guys because
And
one of
kill them
them
both,
I'd
yeah.
well, I put 2 arrows in the one guy, and it's really cool too. If you put 2 arrows in a guy, he will start to go and move slowly.
Sure.
Like, he will
Do you
really
see health
start to be
bars, or you have
sluggish.
no clue how
No
low they
clue.
are?
There's no again, I think it's the accuracy that they're
Sure.
going for
Yeah.
because it's Henry's perspective. We don't know. Like, he doesn't know.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
it it's
He has no clue.
it kinda it doesn't it's a really, really good role-playing game, right?
Huh.
Like, it's the exploration, it's the writing, it's the story, it's the character building. The combat is there, and the combat can be fun, but if you're playing the game just for the combat, you're not gonna be very satisfied. It
Yeah,
can
that's
be fun,
where
and you can do
yeah.
it well, but, there are so many other elements to the game. We haven't even talked about, like, making potions. We
Yeah,
haven't
talk
even
to me about,
talked
like, the
about
inventory sort of skill points and then sort of progression and
so
crafting a little bit more, yeah.
the inventory is really, really neat. Just the menu alone was awesome. You can, like, have different, clothes that you can put on, and it's like you can have different outfits. So, I had 3 different outfits. I had my fighting outfit, I had my sneaking around outfit, and then I had my, talking to people outfit, because people will treat you differently based on how you look. And it's one of those small details that I didn't think would matter that much that ended up making me really, really adore that side of it. Because if you're if you're running around just outside all day, there's a bar at the bottom that eventually it'll be like, you stink. Like, you will start to smell.
And so
So
what, are people not gonna talk to you? Or are they gonna treat you
no, they'll
differently? Because
talk to you,
uh-huh,
but they'll just be a dick about it.
sure. Yeah.
They'll just be like, "Oh my god, you stink." And then you're like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry." And then, like, if you try to haggle for lower prices, they won't give it to you because they don't trust you because you smell and you're not like you don't seem to be an upstanding citizen.
That's
Um,
yeah, okay.
so there was an easy way to go around that. There was, like, these, like, troughs of water that you can just dip your hands in and clean yourself, and that's fine. It did the job, but then there's also you can make soap and take a bath, but baths were, like, pretty not super rare back then, but not nearly as often as how,
Yeah,
you
how
and
we
I
have
would
it,
take a
sure.
bath or a shower. Um, but, you can also collect, like, every single flower in the game, and with a combination of different materials, you can start to make these really, really cool potions. Like, one is, like, night vision, and it's all, like, neat, but you have to actually brew the potion yourself. You go to an alchemy stand, and you have to look at the instructions and say, "Alright, for," like, there's a hourglass next to you, and it's like, "For 2 turns of the hourglass, boil this flour,
Uh-huh.
and then take it off the heat, and then dump this flour in there that's been ground up, and then add this thing, and then put it back onto the fire for 1 turn of the hourglass, and then pour it into your flask." And then you'll get, like, 4 or 5 of them, and then what's really cool about that is that you can just sell those for a lot of money. Um, dude, the more I talk about it, man, the more I'm kinda remembering how much I actually really, really liked this game.
Yeah, it's so
There's,
much more than
like
the combat, which is nice. Yeah.
it's so much more than the combat, and it really, really was so immersive because you like RPGs just as much as I do, I think. But there's that moment in an RPG when you have a mental like checklist of what you need to do to move
Yeah.
on in the story and to build your character more. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
Like that moment where you're like, "Oh, if I pick all these flowers and make these potions, I can sell all these potions. I can get this money and I can then buy this suit of armor, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I can go take down these guys for this person, and then I can get back onto the quest." Like it's this unbelievable sort of progression of wanting to explore the world, and because everything that you see and do has a purpose. I mean, there's also, dude, you can upgrade your drinking ability.
Wow. That's cool.
It's amazing. You can, but it's hilarious too. If you drink too much, you'll pass out and wake up somewhere. It's really funny, and you
Oh.
also wake up somewhere like miles from where you were when you passed out. You have
And then
no
is
idea
is
what's
there a
going on.
way to summon your horse and all that, or do you have to run everywhere?
I think, yeah, you just whistle for the horse.
Okay, that's
It's
nice.
it, yeah. I mean, listen, realistic, sure, not realistic at all. but also, I think developers kind of run into this. Sometimes realism is boring,
Yeah, that is
right?
there's a line of, like, let's keep it historically accurate with the quests and the setting and everything and the storyline,
Yeah,
but with some gameplay elements, let's not, like, make it so much to where people are just not gonna have fun. Like,
yeah. Because
if I
also,
wake up
like,
somewhere and have to run 2 miles before I get back to where I wanna be, that takes 20 minutes, no
well,
one's
there
gonna
also
play that.
is there's fast travel too, but there's
Yeah, of
fast
course there is, yeah.
travel points. Fast travel points.
But I'm
Um,
assuming you have time of day and it just passes the time.
yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
remember
also,
that from
you
the first.
there's a hunger bar. You get hungrier.
Um,
There's also a sleepiness bar
how do
too.
you yeah, do you have to eat, um to heal, or
You
is that more potions and stuff?
more potions and sleeping and resting.
Uh-huh.
There's also like if you get hit in the head,
Yeah.
it'll show like that your skull is damaged or something, and it will be like it will deplete how quickly your health is regained. Also, at lower levels, if you're bleeding, you will eventually bleed out, so you need
Wow.
bandages or a
Yeah.
potion. But
Desperately, yeah.
sleeping will get you to full health.
That's nice. Okay.
Yeah, but no, it's very, very fun in all of those aspects, and once you get immersed into it, it's very hard to, pull yourself out of it.
Sure. I think to wrap this one up, because you hit basically the whole game. The last thing I really want to talk about is sort of the world and narrative of the script.
Sure.
I know
The
that
writing?
the script exceeded 2 million words.
Yeah, the script
So
exceeded 2. Mhm.
I kind of want to know how did like the dev team? It's really tough to maintain historical accuracy with a fictional character in quest design. So, is there an example that you have at all that was like, oh my gosh, like this flew, like the flow of the game was so good, and it's still extremely historically accurate, or not really?
They had so there's 2 areas in the game, and there's, like, the tutorial area at the beginning.
Always, yeah.
But dude, you know what I thought? Dude, I didn't think it was the tutorial area. I thought it was the game. That's how big it
Oh
was.
snap! Okay,
Dude, I was there for like 45 hours.
how long have you
I
put
I
into
was
this?
I think I put 80 to 90 into it.
That sounds right. Yeah,
It might go as my favorite game this year, or it's gonna be one of them.
you mean last
Um,
year? Yeah,
was it 2025 it came out? Oh shit, never
this
mind.
has
Well,
been well over a year.
whatever.
Yeah,
The game I played this year, how about that?
sure.
Um, the whole point of that, like, first tutorial area is to get invited to a wedding, and once you get to the wedding, it has that classic sort of line where it says, "You can't go any further in the story. If there's anything else you wanna do, do it now, because the second you start this quest, you're not gonna be able to come back here for a very, very long time." And
Yeah.
it had the entire wedding, and it they were dancing in the way that you would then, like, the way it was designed, what they were eating, what they were drinking, what they were talking about was all very accurate. I really cannot, say how good this game is without you playing it, because all of those elements are so well done. Because and then the story you continue. I mean, the wedding does not go well. I mean, it is a lot of fun, but, like, the quests aren't just like it's like, "Go dance with this girl. Go wrestle over here. Go talk to this person. Go cheer up that guy." Like, all of it combined was fantastic. I'm trying to think about what you were asking, like, how all the writing worked, and say your question one more time?
It's so because they had the script of 2 million words,
Sure.
and I want to know how the dev team incorporated the historical accuracy of the storyline, but still kept the main fictional character you're playing as. And because writing a fictional character in a really historically accurate video game is unbelievably challenging.
Sure.
So did you remember like a certain quest line though? This did happen, and then obviously that he added him in to Henry,
Yeah.
but obviously he was never
So
there. But does he
so there
alter the history? You see what I mean? Does he alter
No,
the
he doesn't.
history?
He's not, he's not altering the history in that sense. He's just kind of a witness to the whole thing.
Got it.
Uh,
That's what I.
um,
Okay. Yep. You hit that.
but
Yes.
it's still a lot of fun to be there. And obviously you have to take liberties with anything historical.
Sure.
because we don't know what was actually said, right? It
Of
doesn't
course.
always kind of land. But I think what these guys did, I mean, the guy at Warhorse Studios who made it, they are Czech. So this is their history. What I would say is I it sounds like these guys read a ton about the period and they just immerse themselves in everything. Another cool, and I'm going to get to your question here, but another really cool aspect to the game was there was a kind of like encyclopedia side to it where you could go and everything you like discover in the game will have like an entry about it and that you could read about. Like one of the entries is like grave diggers back then
Yeah.
people didn't really want to talk to them because they were associated with death, right? There was also the three estate system in the medieval time period where it was like there was the people who fight, the people who farm, and the people who pray. And that is the three groups of people. And you were in one of those three groups. And if you weren't and the people who fight were generally the nobles. And so they didn't really interact with the people who farmed, the peasants. So it was a totally different world, and how the people and characters talk to each other really reflected that history in a way that I thought was really, really unique and interesting because it didn't have any of like the modern predispositions that we would have. Like someone in the first game complained about the lack of racial diversity in the game,
Yeah.
and the developers were like, "Guys, you know, this is 15th century Bohemia.
Yeah.
There aren't really any people who look like this at that time period." I mean, Henry does meet a black person in this game, and he asks him, he's like, "Whoa, dude, what are you burnt?" Like he was like, "Are you okay? Like what
Yeah.
happened to you?" He thought he was sick. But it's like to us that's so strange. But can you imagine having never ever seen a black person and then seeing one and not knowing
Yeah, you'd be
anything
like,
about and
"Dude,
then
what is going on here?" Yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah,
then
you
the
just have no
guy the
idea.
guy the guy responds, he's like, "Everyone where I'm from looks like this." And Henry, he can't even think about it, because this is pre-Columbus times, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah.
So Africa or the Middle East is so far away to these guys, because the furthest you might go in this time period is what, maybe 30 miles, something like that.
That sounds right.
But, to finish your to answer your question about the writing and then the historical accuracy, they had, like, a small siege at one point, and you are defending this castle, Henry, with Hans and this other captain, and the army is outside, and they're trying to siege your castle, and they're looking out, and they're like, "What the hell is that?" And it's a cannon, and, you gotta remember,
Oh,
this is like the
snap. Yeah.
this is the 1430s. So, I think it's the 1430s, and it's called a bombard, and they were really, really heavy, they were huge, and they were very difficult to transport, and the technology, was only about 50 years old. I mean, but think about, technology takes a much longer time to develop back then and also to spread.
Yep.
So 50 years is nothing really. And
Yep.
they were freaking out about it. They didn't really understand it. It was all very, very fun to play. Um, and when the siege happens too, they climb the walls. It's like actual siege tactics. They had rocks that they put on by the gate to throw down on top of the heads of the knights below who were trying to bash down the gate.
Yeah.
So it was very, very good. And if you're a history guy or even a RPG person, I could not recommend this game higher enough.
So what would you rate this out of 10?
It's a easy, easy 9.
Yeah, that's what I
It's
thought. Yeah.
so good. It's so good.
The only -1 would be what, combat and stuff? It was a little slow?
Uh, no, I mean, I think I'm trying to think. I don't know. I think there are some games that just hit that magic 10. And this is an incredible game, and it's gonna be a game I remember very, very fondly. But there are some games that just hit that 10, and I
Sure.
don't really know what it is. It's that magic number. But, a 9 to me is an absolutely incredible game.
It is.
So
Okay. Cool.
I couldn't recommend this game enough. It's fantastic.
Nice. Alright. Well, good to hear. It's definitely not my kinda thing, even after hearing all this, unfortunately, but I know
I
that a
think
lot
you
of
can
people will
still
probably enjoy it.
appreciate it
Sure,
for
and I
what
do.
it will do for the industry.
It was up for
Like
game of the
the
year.
Yeah, I think it should have got game of the year actually.
Mm,
Um,
that's a negative.
but like the historical accuracy, the writing, the attention to detail, all of that stuff. I mean, I think there's a very, very clear market. And this is going to be this is their last game for this story, Kingdom Come. And to me, I was thinking these guys need to make other historical games because they absolutely blew it out of the park.
Yeah, yeah. I did hear that. So, I know they won a couple awards, I believe, at the Game Awards.
I mean, they deserved it. I mean, Henry of Skalitz,
Oh,
the
no,
voice
never mind.
actor and the character is pretty famous online because Henry of Skalitz is a really memorable character.
Yeah,
He's a lot of
yeah,
fun to play as.
yeah, yeah, sorry, just looking up, they didn't win anything at the Game Awards.
I know, very disappointing.
Yeah, that is disappointing, but okay. Well, nice. Well, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. We can wrap it up here.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, this has been Shoot the Shit, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.